Welcome back, Dusters, to another episode of Dust Bootcamp. I am your host, Nick, and I am joined by our other hosts, Greg and Alicia from Dust USA.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And crazy enough, we really are near the end of everything we're going to talk about, at least for a little bit, because there's definitely more stuff coming. Paulo teased a whole bunch of it this past weekend, gave a whole PowerPoint presentation on it. There was about 30,000 different posts with stuff in it.
He gets excited.
Yeah, that was a major keynote that was announcing everything that's going to come for the next 2 years. So, pretty impressive.
It was. There was a whole lot of Japanese stuff in there. There was a whole lot of, everybody had stuff in that list, I think.
Yeah. Even the SSU, even though the pictures didn't transpire for whatever reason, but yeah, everyone was having something new. And the Japanese, obviously, because they're going to be released for Christmas. We're actually going to have some, normally if everything goes right, we should have some prototypes to show for Gen Con. They would be in our main glass case, so you would be able to see a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. There was some new coolness that was hiding in the Origins display cases as well. Yeah, somebody picked up on that. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head.
Me neither, to be honest. Everything is a blur from Origins. I still didn't recuperate from there. So
Too much meat.
It was a weekend of gaming and meat. So
and anyone that knows Alicia on Facebook knows that she was cooking a lot of food, preparing for it. A lot of barbecue. There was pulled pork and ribs and brisket.
I'm not sure it was still safe, but we'll know later.
It was a team of 6 people.
Yeah.
And we had 20 pounds of meat. So, yeah. It was interesting.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't enough.
I
know there wasn't enough cheesecake. That was disgraceful.
Yeah, that's because you make them way too small, but it's okay. So anyway, today the schedule is about the Mercenaries and the Mythos.
Oh yeah, we're not just talking about Origin. Spoilers. We have an agenda. All right. So, Mercenary Platoons. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, we're going to start with Sister Louisa.
All right.
So, 2 platoons for the Mercenaries are in the rule book. The first one for Sister Luisa Mendoza. So, 1 command unit, obviously Luisa, and then 2 combat units, either 2 mercenary cleaning team or 1 mercenary cleaning team and the Demolisher, which is the personal walker of Luisa. So very straightforward in the building, really simple. The platoon is also really simple in its rule because it says that mercenary in or supporting Luisa's platoon roll a die at the start of their activation. On a faction logo or target, they gain Brave for this activation. It's a platoon that is a little weird in its gameplay because you're going to roll a die to know if you can roll more dice. So it's a die that you're going to roll to gain Brave, Brave being an ability that allows you to roll 3 dice when you have to shake suppression or under fire off. So it is nice. It's a platoon that you will probably not build on purpose, but it's another example of these kind of platoons that are built by themselves, because when you play Mercenary, you will have the Sisters of Demolition, the Mercenary Cleaning Team, or you will have, and there's a high chance that you're going to use Luisa, because she's an officer, and she's also particularly excellent with their own weapon. So it is something that builds itself, that you don't have to think about. And if you're not using the other platoon by Tanya, it's a platoon that is obviously a nice bonus for free. It's really nothing to write home about, to be honest, because again, it's you have to roll a die to be able to roll more dice. So that means that you always have a chance to not get it. And it's also for something that is not situational, because as I've repeated again and again during this podcast, suppression is a very powerful mechanism, but it's the fact that you need to roll this additional roll, in order to get the advantage, makes it really unreliable. So you have to be careful with that. There will be entire rounds where your dice are going to betray you, like dice always do, and you will have nothing. So be careful with that. The advantage is that also it counts for your whole activation, meaning that even if you're reactivated, you're going to be able to roll again to remove the suppression, which makes sense when Luisa is an officer. She's going to be able to reactivate a unit, and if that unit didn't shake suppression the first time, she might be able to shake it a second time using Brave, if, again, you get lucky on your rolls. So, again, really situational. Not a platoon that you need to build around, but, again, free bonus. So why deprive yourself of something that's free?
Definitely. No, I can see this is useful because, as you keep saying, and as we've seen with some of the platoons, especially if you're facing off against, say, Von Stein.
Yep.
He's handing out suppression, even if he doesn't hurt you, he's giving you and people within range 3 of you suppression.
Mm-hmm.
So, having this ability to try and remove that, then I have Rosa in mind. She shoots you, and you get suppressed if you don't die.
Yeah.
And there's a few other people that have that same rule. Frank from the USMC, the and stay down. So, with everything that can hand out suppression, it definitely is, a nice thing to have. Granted, like you said, you roll a die to see if you get to roll an extra die if you have to make this roll. So, yeah, situational, but you know what? That's a hell of a valuable thing to have.
Yeah,
because
exactly. When you get it, it's always a very nice bonus to your efficiency. So, and again, it's not too shabby because the cleaning team is really good. The Demolisher and Luisa are absolutely terrible for your enemy. So that's really a fun platoon to build. Not even around the platoon bonus, but just the fact that already you have a lot of very efficient troops in your army. Mercenary is an army that I really like to build because it's really straightforward and really, really powerful at short, medium range. So yeah, it really helps.
Definitely. Yeah. So then we have Task Force Tanya.
This one is particularly good. So Task Force Tanya, the build is really easy. You take a starter set and you have your platoon. So you need Tanya, a mercenary cleaning team, and a wrecker. The platoon advantage, called Digging Girls, says that all mercenary and any support weapon teams in or supporting the Task Force Tanya mercenary platoon gain the defensive tactics skill whenever they are within range 2 of Tanya. Additionally, once per game, a mercenary unit within range 2 of Tanya, but not Tanya herself, and not the unit with her, obviously, can force a successful attack roll against that unit to be rerolled. They do not have to be declared until after the roll. So, two different aspects to the bonus. The first one, which has a very strange way of being written that makes a lot of people wonder about the real bonus, applies to all mercenary So all mercenary units, basically, and vehicles and everything, but also any support weapon team. It's not just the mercenary ones. So it's a platoon that will apply to eventually the Allies, SSU, or Axis, or in a not so far future, Mythos support units. That's pretty amazing. It's a mercenary platoon advantage that actually applies to also the people that the mercenary are working with.
Right. And for those that don't remember, defensive tactics is whenever in cover you gain the damage resilience skill, even against attacks that would remove cover.
Your cover save, yeah.
So
as long as you're placed behind a cover, you're good. So behind or in. So yeah, it's really, really good. Damage resilience is a nice mechanism of survivability. Obviously, the mercenary units, the mercenary cleaning team with Tanya is world famous for their resilience, because when you put them in a cover, that means they are going to have a cover save. And then the damage resilience, plus the HPs of Tanya, plus all the redundancy of the weapons. So even if you lose one grenade launcher, you still have two. So it's really a unit that is already an excellent tar pit. But now everyone in range 2 of Tanya can become a tar pit. And that's extremely, extremely good. So you can choose to have just your heavy machine gun teams become, your mercenary heavy machine gun teams become damage resilient because they are in cover. But you can also think about mortar squads, for example, that you took from another army and they become damage resilient. It's particularly funny when you advance a little bit on the battlefield and then you drop some airborne mortars from the Fallschirmjäger, for example. And they drop, and even if they are not doing anything with their second activation, suddenly they gain damage resilience because they are in range 2 of Tanya. So that's pretty cool as an additional defense mechanism. You can also just use it on more regular troops, allowing you to advance confidently as long as you have covers or smoke. So it's really an army that is built around the battle group, not only Tanya, because it's obvious that Tanya is a keystone to the whole platoon, and you have to be careful in protecting her. But it's also a very good usage of the smoke launchers of the Wrecker, for example, because it's a free action. It's 4 squares around the Wrecker, so it's the square of the Wrecker plus a square of basically a 2x2 with one of them covering the Wrecker. So it makes a nice surface, and you can take several Wreckers to multiply the smokes if you want to. That means that really during the first rounds of the game, you can really protect your army from any danger between cutting the line of sights and giving cover plus damage resilience. You can really advance with more confidence. So that's really interesting. The second part of the bonus is really fun. It's a once per game, but once per game, one of these units that is in range 2 of Tanya can have a very bad roll, or actually a very good roll of their opponent, re-rolled entirely, just because. And that is hilarious. That creates some moments of what the hell, and it's really, it's really, really fun. Lately, I was facing some Fallschirmjäger, and I got absolutely destroyed by the infamous anti-aircraft Fallschirmjäger with the roll in it. This unit that rolls 50 dice, 10 of them being expert, and on a very good roll, you really get so many damage rolls that really you cannot get out of it. And with this kind of ability, sometimes you can force the luck and have your opponent re-roll this particularly good roll where they hit 21 times because it was sustained, and suddenly they have to re-roll everything. So it is fun. It is.
It's definitely one of those what I would call piss you off abilities.
Yes.
Because, you as the person that, got that hit, you're like, yes, eat that, and then they all of a sudden go, now re-roll all of them. Beep. I'll just beep it right there. There'd be a whole lot longer string of it because you just know as you pick up those dice that, you know, the dice gods are not going to be nice to you a second time.
Exactly. But, so yeah, that's really a fun moment. It's not game breaking, but it's really a moment of, again, it's one of these moments where you're going to play with the nerves of your opponent. And I'm not saying that making them cry is good, but making them sweat a little bit is really nice.
Very true. Very true. They, you know.
I really like this platoon. I honestly abuse of it when I play Mercenary. I'm not necessarily building it to have other factions take advantage of it. The heavy machine guns, for example, from the mercenaries are particularly efficient and cheap enough that you can just take a lot of those and have fun. Obviously, taking 2 or 3 units of demolition squads. I remember when Olivier released them, he told me exactly, it was at Gen Con, he was like, this unit is so good, it's going to take months for people to realize it, and then they're going to realize that they need 3 of them all the time. And he was kind of right. With this platoon, it really justifies building heavily into the mercenary cleaning team, because 2 flamers plus 3 grenade launchers, all of them being damage resilient suddenly just because they are around their leader, that makes for a very, very efficient list. Obviously, we were talking about Louisa earlier, but having Louisa in it is going to help a lot, because Louisa is going to be damage resilient, and having an anti-tank gun, because it's a recoilless rifle, with killing spree being damage resilient, that makes a very pesky sniper. So, and of course, you can completely abuse the system and take Emma, and then you heal the units that have been hit and that didn't manage to roll both cover and damage resilience to make them come back, and that's just plain horrible for everyone. So it's really fun. It's really, there is no waste in this platoon. Whatever you're going to put on the table, it's going to make it really scary for your opponent. So that's pretty nice.
That is. I forgot about Emma. Ooh.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of fun. And then you have the Natalia, also the new miniature that is going to be in the organized play kits starting for Gen Con, actually. And you will see that with, again, a mercenary that has 6 dice against infantry 1 with killing spree. That becomes damage resilient because she has a toe in the smoke. It can be really, really, really hard to remove, and for 2 points, that can also play with the nerves of your opponent. If you're a bit lucky on the rolls, that can be really fun. So yeah, mercs are really efficient by themselves, but this platoon makes them shine in a very obvious way. So
yeah.
So dig in, girls, definitely.
Yes. All right, so that'll actually totally do us up for mercs.
Yep.
So I guess we are on to Mythos, and I believe the first one's going to be Will of Cthulhu.
Yes, Will of Cthulhu, and then we're gonna have the monstrous creatures. So the Will of Cthulhu is the platoon from the starter set. So again, very simple to build. You buy the starter set, you have a Cultist Fire Squad, a Migo Assault Squad, and Lilith, both normal and possessed. The bonus is kind of simple. All the units in the platoon and any Cultist Fire Squad and heroes joined, or Migo Squad and heroes joined, in support of this platoon are immune to all friendly spore weapons, which is I would say the short-range weapon of the Migos. They are also immune to friendly Psychic Scream or Psychic Vortex skills. So they just ignore the damage. So the Psychic Scream is actually the weapon, the mid-range weapon, the once per game of the avatar of Nyarlathotep. But the Psychic Vortex that you haven't seen yet is actually a short or mid-range weapon. I don't remember from our playtest, to be honest. That is going to be used by another creature of the mythos that is yet to be released. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. So the starter set of the mythos is really very specific. It has been made to be played really right away, right out of the box, with the army box that contains the avatar and the 2 spawns of Cthulhu. And when you build them together, you have almost 100 points, just enough points to spend into an additional hero with your bonus, or an additional, actually, cultist fire squad. So anyway, the platoon makes them super resilient. Not super resilient to everything, but resilient enough that they're not going to be afraid of their own weapons. The way the mythos is built, the cultists are expendables. That's the principle of a cultist. It's meant to die. But thanks to this platoon, the cultists become immune to their self-inflicted damages, either by the Migos or by the avatars. And that is really convenient. That will allow you to play your army less spread out, to be less scared of popping your Psychic Scream with your Avatar of Nyarlathotep. You can actually use your cultist now as a choking point where your opponent is going to be tempted to face them really quick, and then you can approach with your Avatar of Nyarlathotep and use your Psychic Scream to cause a tremendous amount of damage on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
I was gonna say having that immunity from getting just destroyed by your own stuff is massive. I mean, it's usually you're gonna think that you're safe, because their stuff is close, so they aren't gonna be able to use that ability. So going in there and having them pop it off, and having your opponent go, aren't you gonna take those guys up? No.
It's also really useful because the starter set, as it's built, doesn't have a monster or a vehicle, I should say, but it has the Migo Assault Squad, which is another infantry unit. They fly, they are pretty fast, they hit like mules in melee. They are really, 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 really nasty when they arrive. Problem is that they are super fragile, and you only have 3 in a unit. So you're going to lose them extremely fast. And because of this platoon, you can really use your cultists as a cover for your own Migos, allowing them to advance a little bit safer, because the cultists are going to be extremely aggressive in their approach. And that's really worth it. So it's really something to think about when you use this platoon, is that suddenly your cultists become really what they are meant to be. They are meant to really attract attention. They are gun blazing, yelling weird stuff in language coming from space, and they are really running towards you, and you don't have time to pay attention to these really weird looking mushrooms that fly, because the cultists are really jumping at your throat already. So that's really convenient. That's really the spirit of the platoon, to really make this army playable in a very versatile way. You can really place it the way you want on the battlefield. You are not in danger of killing yourself, and that's extremely good.
Though I would have to argue with you. If flying fungi was coming at me, I may be able to ignore the crazy people around me. I'm sorry, flying fungi just, it's not like somebody threw a mushroom off their pizza.
Flying fungi.
They have little tummies. Nice.
They have little tummies, yeah.
You're talking about something bigger than a human flying at you.
Yeah.
It's more like it's a flying pile of fungi.
Yeah.
We should make plushies.
Mego plushies.
I'm pretty sure someone already did it.
I'm pretty sure that if we don't have them, then there's a market for them still.
Yeah. So Lilith giving them move and fire, obviously on the cultist also. That's going to be really obvious that you're going to have once you have your cultist run in the front and shooting eventually, but it's really the unit is so cheap that you don't even really care if you lose them. So go to town, really run like there's no tomorrow, and shoot at stuff, allowing your Migos to approach in a more quiet manner. So
definitely
that's really the spirit of the platoon. And this platoon is obviously complementary to the Mythos Monstrous Creatures platoon. And this one, oh my god, this one.
Yes.
So the army box is an avatar of Nyarlathotep and 2 spawns of Cthulhu. The platoon requires an avatar of Nyarlathotep or an avatar of Cthulhu that has been shown recently on the internet, and 2 spawns of Cthulhu or 2 spawns of Shub-Niggurath in any combination of that. So 1 and 1 or 2 and 2 or 2 of each. And then support units. The platoon advantage called Unspeakable Fear says that units with the Mythos creature skill in or supporting this platoon can never be target of a sustained attack.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's the right word, actually. It is disgusting in a very primal sense of the word, because these creatures are already kind of sturdy because the spawns are armor 5, the avatar are armor 7, and suddenly you cannot sustain your attacks at all against these creatures. At all.
Yeah. Ugh.
So your move and fire, that means that you can march move because you won't be sustaining. That means that when you have this fantastic defensive formation that you have with bunkers, for example, the team that is inside the bunker does not sustain anymore every round against you. And that changes a lot of things. Because they're also creatures, they're Mythos creatures, that means they are also immune to suppression and critical hits. Okay, they cannot have passengers or pilot, but that doesn't really matter. And they cannot be the target of a common squad special action. So it's really an implacable advancing army with 3 huge monsters that actually move pretty fast and have quite a range of threats that is actually pretty important, because the spawns of Cthulhu are going to move 5 and then punch everything to death. And the avatar of Nyarlathotep is going to move 3 and then have a flamer that is range 3. And it's not a small flamer. It's really something that will make you scared. Again, it reinforces the idea that the range 3 once per game psychic scream also becomes all the more valuable, because you have suddenly enough HPs, enough resilience to go in the middle of the table and fire it when it's really convenient and not rush it. Because the avatar of Nyarlathotep has 1,000,000 HPs, and that is something also that you have to take into consideration. It's 11 HPs with armor 7 and damage resilient, and cannot be targeted by sustained attack, and cannot be suppressed. So you will not slow down the avatar of Nyarlathotep if it doesn't want to be slowed down.
Nope. And I've had it played against me, and I've played against people with it.
Yeah,
it doesn't slow down.
So the platoon is really expensive because it's an 81-point platoon. So it's really a huge investment. And basically that means that you're going to play 1 unit of mercenaries with it, or that you're going to play the starter set for the Mythos with it, because it fits exactly. But really, it's worth it. That makes these monsters all the more capable of anything.
And with faction bonus, you do get to fit a purifier in there.
you can actually fit another fire squad because you're limited by the 6 points of Lilith. Lilith being the only character of the game right now, of the mythos. So you cannot go beyond that. So yeah, it's really, really good. The two played together really makes for an army that you can move the way you want, where you want, and pretty much super aggressively straightforward. Your deployment will really determine what you do because after that you're just going straight and you kill stuff.
Yes.
So that's really it's really a fun army. The army was built really by Olivier as a breathing space for him. He wanted something different. He wanted to not be limited by the realism of the weapons of that time. He really wanted something that was playing differently, that was a little crazy, and that's really the spirit of the mythos right now. You put a crazy amount of points in your monsters, in your vehicles, basically, but you're gonna have some crazy fast infantry. You're gonna have a crazy, insane amount of dice and firepower, but you're also gonna sacrifice a crazy amount of your miniatures during the game. There's no grind in this game, and you will lose cultists like they're nothing, because they are nothing. But you will also lose your monsters, and every time you lose one, you're going to start sweating, thinking, wow, I just lost 23 points or 35 points. But actually, you still have so much next to it that it really doesn't matter. And you will kill a lot of things.
You will. You'll kill a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, losing a monster, that still hurt.
Oh yeah, I've done several tournaments with them because when they were released, the army box, I played the army box first with Mercenaries and then with the starter set when it got released. And really, it's efficient against everything. I played Spam and Dak, and it ended with 2 miniatures on the table. I played against super specialized lists made of only heroes, including superhumans, and it was a wreck. I played against heavily armored vehicles, and it was particularly horrible for my opponent. So when you have a heavy tank and suddenly you throw a spawn of Cthulhu in it and you start punching it and suddenly they have to roll 8 damage resilience or they're going to die, that makes them really sweat a lot. So and they shoot at it, but they cannot sustain. So your only fear, but it's a fear that is built in, is the stun. All the weapons that's going to stun you. You don't want your monsters to get stunned because that's going to prevent them from being efficient, obviously.
Yay, SSU.
You have no way to give them a third attack, and you have no way, or a third action, and you have no way to reactivate them or shake the suppression easily. So it's really something that is going to be, the stun, because stun doesn't shake. So it's really something that you're going to have to deal with. And for example, as I was saying, a bunker, the SSU bunker with a dual Tesla gun is your biggest fear, and you will have to take care of it really quick, which happily you can do because you're fast enough to cross the table round 2 and punch stuff. So don't hesitate to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it is bonkers.
It is bonkers.
I mean, as you said, Olivier did it to, have something new and different. Yeah. And, he really did achieve it with them. They're new, they're different, they do something, that's totally different. And, even though almost everything in the game ends up being, kind of a throwaway, not just, I can live without it, but you have to expect that most of it's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Having a force of cultists that are so super cheap that really the only expectation is that they may kill something, but for the most part, they're just going to scare the piss out of everybody else.
Yes.
Or at least annoy the piss out of them. Yeah. And that now they can move with all my other stuff and cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it's really really interesting to play the cultists really as expendables. That's really what they are. That's the spirit of the army. So that's really interesting to do. Fun thing, and I'm gonna go spoiling a little bit here. We are testing we were testing recently the other squad of cultists, so the saboteurs, and the saboteur squad for the cultists have a platoon that is going to be playable also, where when you play these units along with some heroes that are going to appear soon, this hero and the unit, one of them gain the spy ability. So that means that you're going to have an anti-tank specialized troop that is able to deploy secretly in the back of your table.
I'm more excited by Tito.
Yeah, but Tito is not a cultist; he's a mercenary.
I know that.
But it's going to be interesting also. Yeah.
But it's groundbreaking.
the first male mercenary.
And what a male it is.
Yeah. It's the bare chest version of Paolo.
The great creator. Exactly where the OA should be, nestled in his mercenaries. It's perfect.
It's fitting.
I saw it and my heart just melted.
It's fitting.
It's perfect.
It started as a joke, and the Gaël Goumont, the sculptor, that sculpts a lot of things for us because he's absolutely excellent. Sculpted one day after a picture of Paolo, and he sculpted Paolo. And it was meant as a joke, and Paolo liked it so much that he said, "You know what? Let's put it in the game." So, so yeah, Mercenaries and Mythos are really armies that are a little different. Mythos is going to be a full block, so they're going to have at a point factions, and they're going to have different gameplays that are going to intervene. Right now, they're really straightforward because they are really limited in the amount of releases, obviously, but they're going to be varied a long time. The mercenaries, they are always meant to go with something else. Of course, you can play them by themselves, and we have players that really enjoy that. But when they are coded to be played with something else, and that's the reason why sometimes they're a little bit more expensive, or they are missing some kind of weapons. But you can really do a lot of things with them and have a very fun game filled with mercenaries that are running around and destroying absolutely everything in range 3 or less. So their platoons really reflect that. Yeah, that's pretty much all for our platoons right now.
For now.
For now.
Hellgate is going to be filled with platoons for every armies, for every block. And one of them, for example, that we're going to release in the newsletter soon is actually a PLA platoon that involves playing a lot of PT-47B and A. So the command squad, the command vehicle, and the transport anti-aircraft vehicle.
What about Cricket?
So Cricket is going to be in another platoon. The Dragon and the Phoenix have their own platoon, like every starter set. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. You're going to see the mobile forces of the PLA, the mobile light forces, and it's going to be really fun to play. So, but yeah, we're going to have a lot of things. So people should sign up to the newsletter because this summer might be spoilery a little bit.
And otherwise they can just listen to the podcast when we have you on, because it doesn't matter. You like giving out spoilers there too. Yeah,
as I was saying last time, if Paolo doesn't spoil, I do, and even when we say, "Oh, we're going to keep that secret," suddenly we cannot hold it anymore, and we have to do about it. So.
That's what happens when people really, really enjoy what they do.
Yeah, we're really excited. Hellgate is really an ambitious project, and we are really looking forward to see what people think about it, because Condor was a very nice campaign book, really well built, in my opinion. But it was really centered on one faction. Hellgate is going to be way more ambitious. It's dealing with all the factions, all the blocks, but it also changes the way the universe of Dust is going to be seen and act. So prepare for some crazy stuff, really world-changing stuff.
I like crazy stuff, and I'm definitely looking into more Desert Scorpions.
Oh yeah. The starter set is for Christmas, and you're going to have the starter set. You're going to have an additional unit, rank 1. And then next year, we're going to release the HQ box that is going to contain the Common Squad, obviously, Armor 1, and then Greg and Easy, Maggie, and Marek, which is the miniatures that has been made after our distributor in Europe, Marek. So it's pretty cool.
And wait a second, I didn't see this in the spoilers before, but
actually, Paolo posted the picture last time of the Desert Scorpions, and if you look properly, you will see the starter set and Marek.
Okay, I'm just also noticing that there is Desert Scorpion dudes running, and they've got phasers in their hand.
Exactly. This
Nice.
is the Armor 1 unit that is going to be released. I don't remember if it's the one in the starter set or the one outside of the starter set, but
that's the one outside, because the starters. I was looking at the starter set.
Yeah, the starter set is the one with the Bren guns.
And then for the mercenaries, there's Gregor, the defector.
Yeah,
he's so cute.
It's an anniversary edition preview that we're going to have for Gen Con. That's going to be resin, primed, and premium. So come to the booth to get it, or order it from your LGS because they are going to have access to it if we receive it soon enough. And then it's going to be in the Mercenary HQ box where you're going to have the Common Squad that has been spoiled also. And then you're going to have Gregor and Luisa and Emma. No, sorry, not Luisa. Natalia and Emma.
I was gonna say, wait, they're putting her in the box, but what about her walker?
Yeah, no, she's gonna be in her own box with the walker. So
yeah,
but that is really a box that I'm really looking forward to. The Mercenary HQ, because first the mercenaries need a Common Squad, and they're finally gonna have one. You could always use a Common Squad from another faction, but again, when you want to play the mercenaries as their own, it was something that was really needed. And then having the access finally to Plastic Emma and Plastic Natalia is going to be really awesome.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know. At this point, after as many episodes as we've done, I think taking command squad's going to be useless because they're going to get sniped. First the medic's going to go, then the officer. It's all that's going to happen. It's like everyone's going to take lists that have a sniper fit in there, and all the sniper is going to do is go after the medic, and so round 2, you're not going to have a command squad left.
But remember that you have Emma. Emma is the great savior of humankind.
Yeah. I mean, a multi-wound, I wanted to say healer. Medic.
Yes. It's exactly that. She's a multi-wound healer.
Band-Aids do amazing things.
Yeah. In MMO language, that's exactly how you're going to play her. You're going to play her right behind the command squad, or the squad that you value the most. And she's going to be one square behind. And every time you lose someone, boom, heal, come back. And it's fantastic. And actually, you can even play her in the command squad. And if you have lost your stuff, she can even be in the command squad and do exactly the same thing. So it's really, it's going to be, this release is going to be game-changing for the whole faction. It's going to suddenly become a real faction that has really a lot of options in their gameplay. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That will be a nice thing. The new walkers for the mercenaries, added some stuff, but getting in, more heroes that you can get regularly.
Yep.
And all that will definitely improve the mercenaries multiple folds. Yeah. So
you can also think about the craziness of having Justin and Co run along the battlefield and be reactivated to go charge a vehicle and destroy it. And that's amazing. Going in melee against a vehicle with just a wrench and just wreck it completely it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Pissed off woman?
Pissed off mechanics. So
a lot of pissed off mechanics.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be really. This is a release that I'm really looking forward to. So, but we will talk about it in another podcast probably.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Hellgate, game changing, universe changing.
I hate that phrase.
Game changer. You will.
Her face and everything.
Yeah. It's going to explain to you
Some people don't like the word moist. For me, it's game changer.
So it's going to explain to you why the cultists appear from everywhere suddenly. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Because they were already there.
Yeah.
Boom, done. I've spoiled Hellgate.
Boom, page 1. And then we have 250 pages of just pictures.
Well, knowing Paulo, that probably wouldn't have been hard to do. But
well, for the story, actually, Hellgate was supposed to be released at Gen Con, and we delayed it because Paulo wanted more pictures in the book, and we needed time to make them. So he's actually right now in China shooting the pictures for Hellgate. Uh-huh. So it's not completely wrong.
It's so neat to watch him do that.
Yeah.
He's super, super concentrated and he's got this little teeny tiny bulb that blows air, and he has to get the sand just so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, it's a real job.
It is. No, it is. But all right. I guess that'll about do it for the episode. And I mean, at the moment for the show, I think.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about everything.
For the Bootcamp 101, definitely.
For the Bootcamp 101. I guess we'll have to have AIT after that. The Advanced Infantry Training. All right, Dusters. I guess stay dusty. Thanks to Dust USA for partnering with us here at Skirmish Supremacy on this series. It has been amazing to work through and do. So thank you guys.
You're welcome.
We had an excellent moment. It was really fantastic. So.
And as always, stay dusty.